مرحبا بكم مرة أخرى. Welcome again, and new set of vocabulary. We're now on page 54, 55. Let's look at these vocab, and then as usual we put it into sentences so we can really understand it very well. الإنجليزية English. الفرنسية French. العربية Arabic. العلوم Science. التاريخ History. الاقتصاد Economics. المحاسبة Accounting. القانون Law. الطب Medicine. الهندسة Engineering. رسالة A letter. قصة A story. شعر A poem. مقالة An article. تقرير A report. حفلة A party or celebration. اجتماع A meeting. لماذا Why. عندما When. بعد After. So go to page 54, look at this vocab and the related sentences which we are going to go through shortly. Right, now let's have a look at the sentences which we're using to implement the vocabulary that we have just learned. درس محمد الفرنسية والإنجليزية. لبست ليلى تنورتها الطويلة ومعطفا جديدا. كتبت رسالة إلى أمي أول أمس. هل درست المحاسبة في الكلية يا مريم؟ The accusative case. What's accusative case? We mean by that one of the signs that we put at the end or the last letter of word. A sentence comprises of a verb, فعل, subject, فاعل, and object, مفعول. So each of those three areas, they have their case ending. For instance, here, darasa, he studied. The case ending here we have fatha. فعل ماضي, that's past tense. Muhammadun is the subject. The subject meaning the doer of the verb. The person who carried out, who is responsible for the action, is called in grammar term subject. Then object, al-faransiyata here, object meaning the person or item which is in at the receiving end of the action. Put it in a very simple way. You have an offense, that's action. You have a criminal who is the doer, that's subject of the offense. And then you have the victim, and that is object. So the object is really at the receiving end of the action carried out by the subject. Right, so darasa Muhammad al-Faransiyata, usually under the normal arrangement, if the object happens to be a singular noun, it will have the sign accusative case, meaning in this case, fatha. Hence you have darasa Muhammadun al-Faransiyata wal-Ingliziyata. So Muhammadun here, that's your object. An object, when it's a singular, a noun, so it will carry dhamma, u sound. But object will carry fatha. Hence we have درس محمد الفرنسية والإنجليزية. And this is one of the uniqueness of Arabic, really. Arabic's language retains the letter, the word, as well as the vowels. Which means, in English, for instance, if I want to say a teacher hit a student, for instance, it has to be in that order. Otherwise, the meaning will change. If I say a student hit the teacher, now the meaning has changed. But in Arabic, because you have extra vowels which indicate who is subject and who is the object, who is the receiving end, it doesn't matter really. You can actually mix the order and the meaning will still be very clear to you. If I say Darasa Muhammadun al-Faransiyata, fine, that's normal order. If I say Darasa al-Faransiyata Muhammadun, again, the Muhammadun, whatever it is, because it's carrying this sign, it's still the subject. I will identify, I will know which one is. It doesn't matter whether that object is hiding somewhere at the back or beginning or the middle. Because it will be carrying vowel, and you can say, what about when we see Arabic doesn't carry vowel? No, once you learn your grammar, even though it is not there, you automatically know what kind of vowel should be there, and hence you will know whether it is subject or object or whatever it may be the case. So darasa Muhammadun al-Faransiyata wal-Ingliziyata. Muhammad studied French and English. In English, you start with the subject. In Arabic, you start with the verb, followed by subject. That's normal order. Arabic is verb, action word, subject, the doer, object, the one receiving the action of the verb. Next one. لبست ليلى تنورتها الطويلة ومعطفا جديدا. Let's analyze this. We have labisat, that's she wore. We have the ta with sukun. Layla is the subject. So in English, we start with the subject. We say Layla wore her long skirt. Tanurata, skirt here is the object. Hence it's carrying the fatha. Tanurata. Then is it tanurata her skirt. At-tawilata. Tawilata is an adjective description which is describing the skirt. That's why it's carrying fatha, because it has to be the same as the noun it describes. So the nurata is feminine, tawilata is feminine, the nurata is carrying fatha because it's an object, therefore the adjective is also carrying fatha. وَمِعْطَفًا, again that's following the same pattern. وَمِعْطَفًا جَدِيدًا. And Layla is where, as if you were saying, wa labisat Layla mi'tafan, and mi'tafan means coat, jadidan, mi'tafan jadidan, and a new coat. Next one, katabtu. Remember to say I did something. In this case is kataba. Katab, we put sukun here, and then tu, which is your attached pronoun. Katabtu risalatan. Now here, who is the subject and what is the object here? Katabtu, I wrote. I am the subject. Risalatan is the object. It's that receiving end of my writing. So katabtu risalatan. I wrote a letter. Ila ummi, to my mum. Awwala ams, yesterday, or the day before yesterday. Ams is yesterday. Awwala ams is the day before yesterday. Awwala ams, the day before yesterday. هل درست المحاسبة? Did you study accountancy? Accountancy here is carrying fatha because it is the object. So درستي, you speaking directly to Maryam. Maryam is the subject. So هل درستي المحاسبة في الكلية يا مريم. هل درست المحاسبة في الكلية يا مريم. This is a brief, very, very brief indeed, the meaning and the implication of accusative structure or case. A little bit of extension to the or of the accusative case. Previously we have a noun in the position of accusative case, which is object. Now let's look at what about if the object happen to be pronoun. Now attach pronouns with accusative case. Labistu mi'tofi, I wore my coat. My coat is the object of labisa. So labistu, I am the doer. Labistu mi'tofi. Mi'tofi, as you know, object should be carrying fatha at the end. But pronoun, it doesn't change. Pronoun of I, something belongs to me, always end in E. Kitabi, my book. Baiti, Sadiqi, my friend. Muallimi, my teacher. Talibi, my student. Talibati, my female student, and so on. Always isan, to attribute something to yourself as a speaker. So labistu mi'atofi, although grammatically its position is actually accusative position, but we cannot see it because there's another rule to overriding that, meaning isan has to be. So labistu mi'atofi. Labistuhu. Again, labistuhu, I wore it. This it, who is pronoun, and the pronoun cannot decline, indeclinable, meaning you don't change its vowel. So even if it's in a position whereby this should be carrying fatha, no, the pronoun will remain whatever the vowel is originally there. Here, labistuhu, I wore it. To, which means I wore something, I'm the subject, so who is the object, but it's not carrying fatha, even though its position is fatha. I wore it. Labistahu, you wore it, the same thing. Labisti, he, right. Labistihi, the only exception to this is when we have kasra before this pronoun, this particular one, which is the who. Here you are not allowed to say labistihu. Labistihu. We need to say labisti here because we are talking to single woman, single female. Labisti, you wore, and then this we cannot say who, referring to it, although it's still object, but in this case it need to match this to have the kesra. I think we did that before. Here, labisahu, he wore it. That's in line with the rules, meaning you don't change the case ending or the vowel on your pronoun. So labisahu, labisat, that's she wore. Labisat who, she wore it. So I thought we extend that a little bit. Again, more explanation is given on page 54, 55, 56. So please do open your book and confirm that and do the exercise so that it can become second nature to you. Well done. So I'm happy with how things are going because I get some reports from some of you, and I thank you very much for all your kind expression of appreciation. I do appreciate it as well. And for those of you as well who bought the book, that's very much appreciated. Many thanks. مع السلامة. إلى اللقاء. في أمان الله.